it a lot, but now I enjoy it even more as a coach. So I'm very glad that I was asked to run this panel today, and I'm very, very happy with the panel because we can learn a lot from them. I need something from you. We have a deal here. I personally do not like events where it's one way. I really want you to interrupt, ask questions, use the opportunity to ask the panel questions. I have a lot of questions prepared, but really interrupt us. It's your opportunity to ask the questions you always want to ask. So help us so it's two-way. And if you don't ask, I will ask you. So you better be in control. Okay, can I invite the fantastic, amazing panel of Abil, Amir, and Wahid. This is the stage. So the great thing about this amazing panel is we have two experts from the industry, HR, learning and development, and then we have a PCC running this business, delivering services to the corporates. So we've been through the journey, as most of us are here, getting certified, establishing our business, etc. And I can just start asking myself a question here. At the beginning, when I started this journey, leaving a huge corporate job, big decision, I had a lot of questions in my head how to do this. There was a lot of uncertainty and unknown, and I'm still learning. So I'm sure a lot of you have the same question: how do I get started? How do I find my first 10 top paying customers? And I just want to share a very funny story. So with Lynn and the faculty, I had the opportunity to coach three C4C clients. All my C4C have turned into paying customers. All of them, without exception. In fact, at a very good price. So it's all possible. I never thought about that, but I'm just being myself, using what I learned in the faculty. So that's why I felt, how? It's possible, yeah? What you do every day. So never say never. Everything is possible. Even it's coming from something which is not paid, you can turn it into a paid business. With that, I want my fantastic panel to introduce themselves. So,
yes. Well, hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Very pleased to be here with you. Thanks for having me here for today. My name is Amine. As you can see, I'm born in Middle East and grown in Middle East. I lived in Europe for around 18 years, now for the last 15 years in Singapore. And I'm probably going to be for the next 20 years because now I'm tight with Singaporean, my kids Singaporean. Welcome to the club, and I'm happy here to be. So I'm really pleased to be here to want to the journey with you, like you, with CCI, to complete my hours, and I managed to really get the PCC now, and I'm working full time for it's part of my job, coaching, individual coaching, group coaching, but also some leadership development as well. But most of the time, like at the moment, it's really dedicated to coaching, group coaching for work. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you to CCI for having me here. I have to declare the current student the best that we are going through right now. Right, so it's been a wonderful journey. So I've been in the corporate life for more than 20 years in manufacturing, engineering, business process outsourcing, shipping and renewable energy, right? In the space of HR, in particular learning and development, right? I work with both local, Asia and the global scene, right? And one thing that leads me to take this program is the passion that we have in building the capability and the potential of the people that we come across in our day-to-day life. Right. So again, thank you for having me here, CCI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abhilasha. You can call me Avi. I'm probably the odd one out here. I'm still very much wedged into the corporate world, and I'm in human resources. My entire career, in fact, has been in human resources. Primarily, working with business leaders as a business partner and helping them set their agenda. And while doing that, I've had the opportunity many times to work with some incredible executive coaches as part of the programs that we've implemented. So from my end, what I can share with you is what goes into the decision to bring a coach on board, how that decision gets made, and what might be some good venues for you to look at when you think about BD. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's a great opportunity for me to ask the first question. The good news is they don't know any of the questions. So this is unprepared because I like panels where everything is not prepared. So it's totally live and based on what you say here. So, Abhi, coming from the business, when you look for coaching and say coaching is the thing I want to do, how do you make that decision and what are you looking for?
That's a really interesting question. Hardly ever do we say we want to do coaching. What we actually start with is we have a problem and we want to solve that problem. And there's very many ways to do it. You know, typically business leaders have had good experiences doing one thing or the other. Sometimes it's team building, sometimes it's an exec retreat, sometimes it's sending somebody off to an exec MBA or some other such program externally. So they start from the point of view of what they're familiar with. And coaching is something that then comes into the conversation when either they've had a good experience in the past or someone, i.e. me or somebody else, introduces the concept to them. So that's usually the starting point. And if you have
Okay, and you say so you see it as a part of the learning. Do you see any resistance when people hear the word coaching?
Not anymore. Used to, and I can say till about 6-7 years ago, coaching was immediately associated with low performance, there's a problem, fix this person, right? Send them out, get them fixed, bring them back in. But I see that it's changed a lot. I have had experiences implementing systemic coaching programs in my company. And very recently in Ecolab, globally we've implemented something called Leader as Coach, which is fundamentally training our leaders, everybody that has teams reporting to them and who's running a business, training them on coaching skills and making sure that they're using that in how they develop their teams. So it's becoming an integral part of how they coach.
Thank you. Yeah, I see the same in the industry. Wahid, coming more from a learning and development background point of view, same question. When is coaching coming into the game?
Most of the identified coaches, when they go through this identification program or whatever, not to with a certain intervention, right? You always link into either leadership development skills, their business acumen skills, strategic thinking skills, and so on, right? So when we hear that coaching is the intervention that you want to do, right? For me as an L&D person, I'd like to do another round of diagnosis, right, to make sure that coaching is the actual intervention. Right. And this is very important because we do not want, because the direction usually coming from the top management or their line managers. Okay, you go for coaching, right? But for us, for me, I have to make sure that coaching is the right intervention so that you guys coming into to coach this person will be much more easier. The understanding of coaching has already been ascertained, right? And he or she knows that coaching is the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you. So building on that, coming from the outside, having the skills, the experience, being a PCC and a executive coach, how do you approach a corporate client?
Well, there are a few ways to approach corporate clients, either through networking or being associated with some companies. And this is my case. Most of my coaching coming from this particular channel. The second is, I would say, the recommendation, your credibility. Your credibility, the word of mouth, people call you. The corporate call you and say, well, I heard about you, so let's meet. So of course there's still, well, even with that, you still have you coming on board and you meet the HR, then you meet the L&D. First you need also, please them that they must be happy, they must be satisfied to feel that this is the right coach for me, the right coach for our managers. Then we go through the process, the chemistry call, etc. So yeah, the third channel I do is I expose myself more and more now in talks like today, Snapchat and so on. Putting yourself, expose yourself, that can help me really get to the corporate life. Because mainly I do coaching and corporate life.
So when you started off your own business, so to say, what was your kind of very first step to be more known?
I started my own business in 2011, so I was at learning and development at that time. In 2008, I said, well, I started my own business. The first step my first step was really networking. And one of my friends who was, he's still executive coach here in Singapore, put me on board for first assignment. And the first assignment you can't miss it. And that's how it started. And for me, the corporate, to be really the corporate, go at that level and start coaching. And then you repeat the success. You repeat the success again and again. And I think this is how it started for me, really to create the credibility and become a coach. And now there is a lot of network of coaches in Singapore, and I've been called so many times for coaching, I've been called from word of mouth. So I think this is really important. But most important also, don't neglect what you're doing. I think you're in the right place. You build your skills, because you also need to build the skills. Going to create a good impact, if you don't have the skills, it doesn't work. So I was lucky as an L&D at the time to build my skills before 2008, and then start in 2008 in June.
Very, thank you for sharing that. So when you look closer,
I will do it closer.
Abby, when you look for a coach, what kind of profile, when you say, now we know it's the right thing to do, it's the right time in the business, what type of skill set or features are you looking for?
Again, a great question. Everybody here who has life experiences and work experiences, you absolutely can bring that to the table when you go in front of your client, because the coaching skills are going on top of that. And that's typically what we're looking for when we're looking for coaches. So usually the situation in which we're looking for coaches to come in is when there's a behavioral issue that needs to be addressed, or a behavioral, maybe a more nebulous skill that needs to be built, which typically cannot be fixed by sending on training and cannot be gained by just on-the-job experience. So that could be, like you mentioned, strategic thinking, it could be leadership presence, it could be any one of those. And when we go out and look for a coach, we're looking for somebody that understands how to work with corporates or has worked in corporates. If we're looking for somebody for a leader who's new in a country, then we would be looking for somebody that has themselves moved, ideally. So they have an experience of what it means to operate in a different culture. So it is case to case, but we're looking for some of those characteristics in the coaches. So for those of you that have worked in multinationals, those of you who have a subject matter expertise, my recommendation when you're starting off would be look at what your ideal profile would be and make yourself present in those situations. So if you come from the healthcare industry, turn up. If there's a healthcare strategy summit going on, turn up there. Because those are the people that will be most drawn to you immediately because of your past experiences. That's how we choose them.
It simply summarizes as like looking for a new job. Right. So put as much detail in your profile. Right. So when an organization like us, we reach out to coaching bodies or providers, right? We get dozens of profiles, right? And we are the person that look at all these profiles to make a selection, right? So put as much information, your background, your working experience. If you're PCC, put that in, right? Because for a certain level of people, we are looking for PCC level because you guys have done the number of hours. For maybe big managers, PCC will be fine. All right, so it depends on the development area of our coaches. Right. So again, it's like applying for a job, put as much information in that one pager that is specific to our needs, so we can, select the right coaches to go to the next phase of the chemistry session, and the picture will be nice. Right? Okay?
I have a question.
Okay, that's very good. So go down. Virginie.
Yeah, thanks. You mentioned what you are looking for, but
Closer.
you also said that you turn coaching providers. How do you find your coaches? Where do you find them?
Great question. I have used multiple different channels. One has been the leader themselves and who they work with in the past. The second has typically been schools like, say, IMD, INSEAD, and the affiliations through them. Those are some channels that we do normally access. ICF website, that's another one that we do go to and check out. And other than that, it's honestly just a simple LinkedIn search to see who's available. That's probably the last one. And anybody that we might have met at an event would also typically tend to, for me, they would go into my register.
So you all know who to look out for, right? Buy her beers, buy her more food.
And where do you?
Yeah, for the current organization that I'm with right now, coaching wasn't the in thing since the past 3 to 4 years, right? So we did a pilot run, right? And of course, we want in L&D and HR, we want coaching to work, and of course, this person really thinks he needs coaching. So what we did was that we make it a pilot run, right? Engage as a coaching provider that gives us a very good framework on the coaching journey that takes him from point A to point 1 to point 10, right? And we use him as a benchmark for his successes that coaching does work. And after that, it was kind of easy, right? So I've reached out to freelance coaches. I've reached out to coaches that are affiliated to a certain coaching body. Both works. The main thing is this: we want to see the coaches helping us, HR and L&D, to make our work more seamless. Right? At the same time, benefit the coachee with that framework that you have. Bring that framework inside there, right? And take us through the journey from 7 sessions or 9 sessions of what you're going to go through as a draft, right? And you know that sometimes along the way coaching conversation can change.
Exactly. James.
Similar sort of question. What do you see as the 2 biggest mistakes coaches make when they try to engage with you?
I have one. The first one, in my head there is a distinction between engaging a client one-on-one who've come to you on their own for personal development and engaging via a company, a corporate client, and that's the company's agenda. So one of the mistakes that I do see is not addressing, typically we're told in the coaching space it's really the client's agenda and what they want. In a corporate setting, the organization is footing the bill and there's an expectation and there are other stakeholders involved. So making sure that we're taking that into account and addressing that and understanding that in the pitch, that's where I've seen a failure to connect happen.
And one thing that we want to see is that the focus, of course, is the coaching, but the engagement with the stakeholders, especially the line manager, the coaching line manager, has to be involved in that process somehow, right? Okay, to get accountability, to make sure that ownership is there, because at the end of the day, both of us is self-weight, all right? And that conversation has to remain confidential, and of course we won't be asking what happened and so on. But the most important thing, we want to see whatever has been charted early on in terms of his or her developmental area has made some progress. And the person that gives that tick is always his or her line manager.
I can add a little bit here, but from my perspective, the biggest mistake that we do is going to see the client unprepared. And this is one of the biggest. So you go to see a client, any company, and if you're unprepared, they want to see a coach. So you need to come with the mindset being a coach for them. And they need to see your presence, they need to feel your presence. They need to feel really that you are the coach for them.
Yeah, and now 10 seconds out of my moderator role. This is where LinkedIn can do a lot for you. I'm not paid to promote LinkedIn, but when you go into a client, it's very good to understand their agenda. What is the business strategy? What is happening in that company? Because when you show up and you kind of are familiar with that, you already have 1 or 2 bonus points, number 1. Number 2, I'm very sure for some of the clients you go into, there will be somebody in your network in LinkedIn who knows somebody at that company. So try to use all the social media and LinkedIn for preparing yourself. I think it's super powerful. I have done it many times. It works. So I saw a question here in the audience.
I think my question was kind of answered, and the question was for both Amine as well as to you, John, which is that how do you convince an organization that they need coaching? I mean, it's great to be in an organization such as Wahid and you, Amine, but what if my organization doesn't do coaching as a program?
I think my own response and direct response for that, I'm not here to convince that you need coaching. If you're not convinced yourself in your company that you need coaching, you can't do anything about it. Because you are, when I go to see a client, I'm not making a sales speech. I'm going as a coach. And that's what they want. But of course, if they don't need, if your organization they don't want, then don't waste your time and their time. Because it's your wasted energy. If you can always go and learn and try to sell it, then maybe so. Honestly, for me as a professional now for 11 years alone, I don't go for sales pitch. And I'm not good at it. So I prefer to go where I can really create difference and make the impact, and then the rest will be done.
Can I seek a clarification? Are you referring to when you're going as an external coach to a company, or are you talking about when you're inside the company as an internal?
No, my question is, which company do I go to? How do I figure out that this company already, is interested in coaching? And if that organization is not interested in coaching, and I think that question was answered, is there any point?
People usually don't know what coaching really means. And if you start from coaching, as Amine rightly mentioned, it comes through as a sales pitch, and then it becomes difficult for the organization to see past that. I'd start with a relationship. And once you discover that and you show up as a coach, so here's a funny story. One of the coaches that we hired for one of my business leaders, I met that person at a dinner party at somebody's house, had a conversation, and the way he showed up in that conversation, just as somebody that was curious about where my organization was at, is what made me put him onto the panel to say, hey, come on in, can we have a chat? Because we have an opportunity. So I fully concur with that approach.
And I just want to add what is really working well. I think Singapore is amazing for this networking events. There's so many events every week, and the stack of business cards to go home with, because that's the opportunity to talk and understand. And you can go to HR event or coaching focused event. Seriously, I found so many really good leads there. So just asking a few questions, you will quickly find out if they understand coaching and if there's opportunity, and then you build on that and check what's going on in that company. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, I just want to add something to that. So, my background is in leadership development. For the last 10 years, I've been going into companies, helping them develop leaders. And I've been very lucky that I've always had really big companies engage me for long periods of time, 2, 3, 4 year engagements. I've never done networking.
Right.
I've been lucky. Everything has been through referral. I've just had the worst year in my company's history. The worst year to the point where it makes me wonder, do I want to keep doing this? And the reason why I've had the worst year is because I haven't been doing the networking. I haven't been going out and meeting people. I've got a growing LinkedIn network, but have I actually contacted people and said, hey, hello, I'd really love to come and meet you and actually meet you face to face? Haven't done any of that. And the guys that are really successful are the guys that are doing that very, very proactively a lot of the time. And that's what I think is one of the big differences.
Thank you for sharing this. This is really, really key, because it takes a little bit being vulnerable. And I'm just reading a book. Somebody might know this book. It's called The Prosperous Coach. And it's about loving the no. Because when you do what Jim is saying, and it's very uncomfortable, you will get a lot of no's. But you have to love the no, because there will be a yes, and there will be more yeses. Because every no is a learning opportunity. Something about the client, about you, how you pitch it. So enjoy the no. It's hard, but you will get there.
It's a lot of no, and you need to face a lot of no to appreciate the one yes, when you put all your energy to really make the difference. And thanks God, there's a lot of no. And I've got a lot, I've got many. Almost every month I have a no. And it's okay, so be prepared also to walk. But be also prepared to say, to challenge back, and you say no also for them. It's happened to me not to go for a coaching because the coaching was not really meaningful, and I couldn't make the difference. I felt I couldn't make the difference, so I said I can't do that. But the no is absolutely what you're saying, and so being vulnerable, I think it's one of the key word you said. You need to be really prepared for that, and that's really to make you even grow better. So I didn't reach the 1,000 no yet. But I hope, because that means it's a lot of learning.
It's a numbers game.
Yeah, it's a numbers game.
Exactly. That's funny. Thank you, because I think this is so important in what we do every day. So I would like to hear from all of you. So when you find the coach, it seems to be a good match, chemistry session is working, they have 5 or 10 sessions. How do you measure success? How do you measure success?
So because I also trained as a coach, I tend to be a little harder on this. So I will specifically ask that we set clear KPIs on what is the behavioral change that we expect to see. And I typically like to make sure that even when we've had an agreement with a coach, we say, okay, we want to start, you had your first meeting. I don't take my hands off until we loop back and there is a clarification on what is the objective and the outcome that we're going for. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that I'm also trying to get our key talent to learn is internal accountability. Coaching is not a reward because the organization sees you as good talent. Coaching is an investment in your development, and there needs to be some changes and some returns coming out of it. So building that accountability is key, and I will typically ask for 360 feedbacks, baseline and end state, as a way to measure that, because if your stakeholders see it, it's happening. And if they don't see it, then either you're not doing it, or they're not seeing you do it. So for me, that would be like the asset test.
Yeah.
Organizations pay good money for external coaches. I'm sure the kind of what to charge us, the question comes later. Right. On a serious note, yes, we like to know the end results. How do we put a measurement to that? A little bit tricky. How do we put a tangible measurement there? But get to know who the HR person and the L&D person that you're working with. Right? Okay, what are the measurements that we have put in place? Right? If it's linked into ROI or return on investment, right? This is where you guys need to come in with all the tangible outcomes for the coaching session. If it's the ROE or return on expectation, that is the behavior change. right? Okay. So again, I mentioned to you about that framework. What will be the expectations that you have for your coaching session outcomes? Right?
From my perspective, in most cases, it's once you have the chemistry board and you started, it's the triad meeting. It's the coachee itself, his manager and manager, and most of the time I try also to involve the HR or the LME because they also have some. And during that meeting, you fix the KPI. Now, if it's a long-term coaching, if you have like 10 to 15 hours coaching, then I request for a midpoint check. But we prepare that with the coachee, knowing that there are always confidentiality with the coachee, will never be, communicate. So we prepare that, and but so we will make the midpoint check. Where are we? That KPI we fixed, and make one more at the end. It's important, but in these cases where they ask you, because more and more now we ask what is the return on investment, and we need to know that.
I love the answers because there needs to be some KPIs. Some of them are more soft, some of them are more hard. And I think what I'm trying to do is also, it's not all about business, whatever, revenue, productivity. It's also about the person, him or herself, okay? What is the KPI for that person? And really spend time on that, because it's kind of work both ways. So I love that, thank you. But, so you, yeah, sorry?
That's to add on that, and the KPI very simple. You mentioned, what sort of behavior you want to see in that manager at the end of this coaching?
Exactly. So now I'm going to ask the money question. Everybody wants to know. Yeah, of course.
One of the things, we talked about other people saying no to you. One of the things that I would urge you to step away from is situations where you're going in to coach somebody that's either on the last legs, organizationally, or the internal politics of what is going on puts them in a position where there isn't any support. And the third one would be if the individual does not want to change. Because no matter how good a coach you are, in those circumstances, you're taking a very perilous journey, and you're not going to be able to drag them or the organization over the line. So you're better off just not investing your energy in that.
Yeah, thank you for that. So there's quite a few online platforms out there where coaches can put out their profile, their name, their specialties, and their price. And I prepare for this, I just checked yesterday evening. So you can find a coach who is really coaching me or whoever is looking for leadership for $50 an hour. And there are coaches on the platform who charge $3,000 per hour. That was arranged yesterday evening. Yeah? And there's a few platforms out there. So when we talk about pricing, how do you look at pricing? What is a good price, and how do you kind of make the judgment between what the coach is asking for versus what it is others?
Yeah, I want to start.
In the beginning of the financial year, we always put out the budget, right? Training budget, talent management budget, and so how little. Right. A budget for coaching will always be there, depending if the organization truly believes and want coaching for their people. Right. Well, for us, for me, I make it very practical, right, and easy for me to manage, because at the end of the day, or end of the year, I need to answer to the management spend versus right. But the idea behind putting out the budget is to make coaching work. That's the key thing that you guys need to know, right? We like to see a package. Don't charge us for the chemistry sessions, right? But a package of 7 coaching sessions, right? And what is the overall fee that you are going to charge the organization, instead of breaking up by hours. Right. Complement that with the ROE or the ROI as your selling point. Right? And when you always have 2 or 3 quotations. Right? For me, I look at the ROE and ROI framework that you guys have put up front, and the price, as long as within the budget, right, we are okay. All right.
I'm going to answer this from two sides. One from the organization and the second from how you can protect your own financial streak, right? From the organization standpoint, we like it when things are itemized because from a procurement perspective, it makes negotiation very easy. So if you're giving me like, oh, for a 3-day retreat, this is what it's going to cost, and for 360 feedback, this is what it's going to cost. By taking some of those logistics off of your plate, and then negotiating on your hours, I can lower the cost. So we like it when it's itemized. From your end, the minute you start going into cost conversations and you have not sold your value, you're in a difficult spot. So as long as possible, as far as possible, keep away from the cost conversation until you're certain that you've sold the value. That would be my first advice. Second, understand the baseline market. So recently, for example, we set somebody up in Australia with a one-on-one coach. And this was somebody that we take as a high potential. Typically not at the level where you would invest in an executive coach, but this individual is in a role that's very critical for the organization and it's a pipeline into general managerial roles. And therefore we decided to invest in an executive coach. We're paying $800 an hour. And if I value that against what we pay this individual per annum, it is a hefty investment that we're making. Yeah. But the eye is on long term and what this coach has delivered in the past and what this coach can deliver for us in this situation. Because we bought into the value, we were able to swallow the price tag on that. So that would be my advice from the coaching side.
From my experience, I think when it comes to coaching, is you create value to a company. So I think the last things you want to talk about, is that you coach is money. Because when they call you for an executive, we're not here to bargain. We have an executive, we need to coach, we need to develop because you create value and this person will create value, then the money is not anymore an option. However, you need to be prepared to also give a price. Give a fees once you have everything, so what is this going to cost me? So you need to be prepared and not to hesitate. I know sometimes I was not prepared for that because I want to understand and I miss opportunity for that. So you need to manage really both KPI, but also the value that you create.
Yeah, for those of you who have sales background or done sales training, there's this kind of term walk away price. And it might be good in your head to have a price and say, I'm not going to do it under, let's say, $400, whatever the price is. You said that. And it's just, that is the no situations, yeah? And then you have to think about the value. I really love that answer because it's have the value conversation first. And what I always try to discuss with the client on the other side is, what is the price of not doing it? It's a very big question. What is the price of not doing it? Because it's often a big problem. Org change, career change, hundreds of employees because I focus more on the senior ones. It's huge. I'm very cheap. And I'm not compared to the problem they are trying to solve or make that person successful. So it's a very powerful question. What is the price of not doing it? I just want to share that one because it works very well. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes. I have one last question for all of you, but I just want to give the floor a chance before you can think about a question when I answer that one. Any burning questions? So let me just start. So we live in a world, my son is 17, and he's just in Singapore because he has studied in Singapore, now he's back in Germany and he's having his summer holidays. So I spend a lot of time with him to understand what's going on in the head of somebody who's 17. I can tell you it's so different from what happened in my life. It's so different. And he is somebody who he did not grow up with a mobile phone, he was having a Game Boy. So it's kind of, I think, one of the last boys on this planet who had a Game Boy and not an iPhone or Samsung, whatever. My point is the world is changing and has changed, and it changes faster than ever before. There's a lot of disruption in the industries, inside companies, and I hear and read again and again that time is becoming the most important currency. So in that context, the world is going crazy, faster, faster, faster. From a coaching point of view, is there any thought or advice for the audience here to say what is coming next that you should prepare for to go out and deliver coaching services based on that context? What's coming next?
Well, the first one is certainly there is a trend in more and more companies to have internal coaches and to train their leadership on internal coaching. To me, that's actually a sign that the coaching industry is growing. It's a very positive sign because you no longer have to walk into organizations and sell why coaching works. They're doing it because they believe it, right? Second, it's an opportunity to scale up the value. So moving more to, because executives and leaders are still going to need somebody outside the turmoil of the organization, someone that's a neutral voice that they can have as a coach. Because I can tell you, as an internal HR person, sometimes when I'm coaching, it's a difficult position to be in because I have multiple roles that I need to fulfill, and sometimes these stakeholders have things that they need from me, which is outside of or in conflict with the role as a coach. So we still look for external coaches to support, augment, and really round out what our executives need. In terms of the specific areas of focus, it's a strange one, but I will say this, wellness and understanding what it takes to be well, physically, emotionally, spiritually, in order to do your job, is a trend that you need to be thinking about. Because more and more leaders, it's not about how much necessarily they can get done. I think the optimization has already happened. It's about how can they sustain that peak performance for long periods of time, and that comes from balance. And the second one would be having the ability to be globally, culturally competent, because most people are managing diverse, multicultural teams.
And I'd like to second that organizations now, I can say most organizations now do believe in coaching. In fact, organizations are leaning towards building a coaching culture, right, which look into line managers practicing coaching moments, right, having an internal coach to coach their own employees, and also looking out for external coaches, right. So all these things are in place, right. If you are a coach and at the same time are able to do a bit of facilitation or stand-up training, right, bring those skills in this organization, opportunities are there for you to provide training or provide some insights on how line managers can bring coaching at their workplace, right. Use that as a selling point. Right, you never know. Right, you end up coaching a few people that 40 more hours. Right?
Yeah. 2014, there was a study, research done with 30,000 leaders around the world, with almost all countries in New York. And the bottom line of it is to say, future critical skills today in the workplace is coaching. So I think there's no more debate about that. Coaching is really needed. And I feel it, me from external part, really is more and more growing. Now the thing is, we need to be prepared now even more as a coach, because we're coaching not anymore, the generation Y, X, or boomers. We're coaching now the millennial, and the millennial has even more expectations. So you need to be ready for really how to understand the new generation, understand the needs for people. Because now you're coaching, you have MDs level at 35 years old, they are young, 40 years old, they are all that is millennial, right? So you need to be prepared. We even have one trend one day, a big financial company here in Singapore. We didn't do it. The company that where I'm associate coach with them, they couldn't, we're not ready. They asked for coaching through chatting. And this is a trend. So we didn't we say, the company say no, because we're not ready. How can we imagine? So, but this is something, you know, the generation who grow up now with iPhone, with smartphone, they chat, they keep chatting all day long. So I think that's something trend coming, so be prepared for that. I'm not, so when we had asked, you know, the request, I didn't know what to say. I said, my God, how to measure that? Immediately my response, improvements, you know, X. God, how to measure that? A coach, can I imagine a coaching without face-to-face and understand what you need and objective and now and again? And it was really amazing. So be prepared a lot. So one of the things, I say, one more skill to add on what you said, be agile learner. Be agile learner.
And never say never. So I just want to close with this. It could be the same client, but it's so funny because I have a proposal on the table. They ask for 3-level coaching: chat, phone, and face-to-face. So maybe we should talk about it. This is very interesting because it is clearly going in that direction. And on your note, and I'm happy to chat with some of you afterwards. I'm not trying to do own marketing, but I run a health company too, say it's second company. And as we speak here, we have a huge event with Fitness First. As I'm running off after this, and so this is primarily around health, what you eat and what you do for your body. But Fitness First is asking, how can we sit down, collaborate, coaching? Because a lot of the people, they don't have a lot of time. But when they go into the gym, they would love to have short, quick coaching sessions, 15, 20, 25 minutes. So I met the GM yesterday, and I can tell you the market is going crazy. And coming back to my thing, time is becoming the most important currency. So people want to optimize. So when they go into the gym, they want to finish with coaching or start with coaching. There's a huge market for all of us out there, and we can learn from you and also from the business side. We should just go for it and be creative and accept the no. So I can confirm, it's great to hear that that's what you want to see. It is happening, and clients are asking for that. So I really want to thank you.
Just add one thing, please, one advice for all coaches. Please don't forget, we talk about the client, how to approach, but don't neglect the most important things. It's yourself. Keep learning. Take supervisor. Take someone mentoring. And every year I have, you know, mentoring session. I still have. And every year I do a review. I'm mentored by my mentors there sitting. You need really to have, thank you for being my mentor. So really you need to keep learning and to be ready, because you know, out there is a lot of things, so you need sometimes sounding board.
Yeah, and 1/3 of my hours, which I'm clocking but not counting, of course, is when I get coach. And in fact, there's a few in the room here. We have to do it every day. We have to be coach ourselves. And there's so much we can learn every day, and there's no problem with that. That's how we stay best in the market. Hey guys, thank you so much. This was amazing. I love it because it was totally on time. We were 15 minutes less on our call, and I'm really happy with the quality of the answers and the honesty. So huge thank you. Appreciate it.